Welcome to the Bunbury Regional Art Gallery for the Bragg Artist Talks. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon. Firstly, I would like to acknowledge the Wardandi Noongar People as the traditional custodians of the land we are situated on and their elders past, present and emerging. Bunbury Regional Art Gallery acknowledges and respects their continuing culture and the contribution they make to the life of this city and this region. I would like to introduce our speaker for today, Renae Shadler, who will talk about her upcoming performance, Skin, and exploration of the poetics of the human body. Renae Shadler is an Australian choreographer and dancer based in Berlin. Her work delves deeper into the deeper reaches of what it means to be a human in the world, working across forms in a variety of contexts to create immersive and transformative artistic encounters. Her work has been presented and further developed at the Palais de Tokyo in France, the Hellerau European Centre of the Arts in Denmark, the Tanz Fabrik in Denmark, Dance House in Australia, Federation Square in Melbourne, Critical Path, among others. Renae is a prestigious Martin Bequest Fellow. And thank you, Renae.
Thank you.
So, do you have a bit of background into your performance today? So how did you come to be today? What's been the process and the lead up?
Firstly, thank you for the kind introduction. Very, very kind of you. I'm here also with Roland Walter, my collaborator.
Yes.
And so he's also came over to Berlin to work on the duet, so this is really special. And Annie, his assistant, as well as two other assistants that are with us. So we're a group of 5, so it's been quite a big undertaking, coming both to Melbourne and then to Bunbury. And before that, this project was actually in Berlin and Hamburg. So this is our 4th development, and the project isn't quite finished yet. It's an ongoing process, and we hope to have a completed dance work by May next year. So at the moment, the piece is around 40 minutes long, and we're looking to extend that to an hour, a full piece. I will need to translate in German for Roland, and then I'll continue. Das war ein schönes Präsentieren von meiner Choreografik-Arbeit. Und ich hatte auch, dass wir zusammen, du bist hier, und dann Annie und alle die anderen Assistenten, hat alle gekommen von Deutschland. Und dies ist die 4. Und die erste war Berlin und Hamburg, Melbourne und hier. Und das Stück ist nicht yet fertig, ja? Wir hatten 40 Minuten, aber wir mussten ein Komplettstück. Und dann die Frage war über unseren Prozess. So, möchtest du über den Prozess erklären? Genau. Ich hatte erklärt, dass du hast gesucht für eine Performance, für ein Stück überhaupt zu machen. Und dann ich habe mit dir gearbeitet und dann die Idee mit Wasser gekommen in die Schlafsack. Und dann ich mache eine Choreografie in die Bühne. Ja? So Roland explained that he saw my performance last year and invited to work together. He was very interested in working with the skin and the effects of the skin, and my choreographic work is more with the environment and noticing changes. So I was very interested in working also with water and the effect of water on the skin, being that my skin wrinkles and Roland's skin, and especially his spasms, release in warm water. This is a way to relax the muscles. And I also brought in sleeping bags. The first few days he mentioned the Schlafsacks, which means sleeping bag in German. And this was a way of beginning as equals, because it was very early that I realized it was quite easy for me to pick Roland up and do things with his body, but actually how could we start with a level playing field and then build the choreography and emerge together. And I think also it's nice for a performance and also for the audience watching to slowly have that revealed to them, that they don't automatically sit down and go, oh, this is a duet with a young fit dancer and an elderly dancer with a disability, because it's so much more than that, and it's so easy for us to hold on to these ideas that we hold without knowing. I think there's a lot of prejudices that even I realise I have, having worked with Roland for 8 months. The other point that Roland said, die Schlafsack, die Wasser, die Haut. War da ein anderer? Ich habe nicht gefunden. Nee? Nee? Okay, cool. I did less smile, but yeah, that also now we began kind of creating the work together, but recently now it's become bigger. I've taken on the role of choreographer and have been really being able to be more specific with the movements. And this was another prejudice that I had actually in working with people with disability. I thought we needed to be equals, and I needed Roland to come and co-choreograph and be interested in the music and the lights, but he actually wasn't. In a way that any professional process, if you're a dancer, you're a dancer. If you're kind of helping something, or like assisting a vision, that's a role. And I think that's also really nice. I think often for people with disabilities, and especially myself, I realized I felt like I had to sacrifice my practice or, you know, force him to be something that he wasn't interested in being. And I noticed that also in going to festivals, like often workshops or these inclusion events, it's really like everybody works harder than if they were just professional and doing their task. You know, we all have to make an inclusive work with all the different bodies, when actually in a able-bodied, whatever that means, festival, the artists just come and perform their piece and then they leave. But we had this inclusive festival in Hamburg, and all of a sudden the artists also had to make a piece together and talk about what it's like to live with a disability. You know, nobody asked me, hey Renae, what's it like to live as a 30-year-old in Berlin, you know? So there's so much more work expected of people, because the people that are more able-bodied think we need to give them more room. But actually I think there's also that thing of having room to be good at what you're doing. Yeah?
Yes.
To allow people to be as professional and as specific as possible, as I would expect from a specialist. Andy's here, who was a chemical engineer, you know? No one's asking him to also build the factories and tell everybody, look at this wonderful factory, you know?
So, ich habe erklärt, dass du halt der letzte Punkt war, dass ich im Moment die Choreograf bin und wir zusammen arbeiten. Und dann, das war gut für mich, weil ich hatte Gedanken, dass ich muss mehr Raum für dich machen und ich bin nicht alleine Choreografin. Und dann, ich hatte auch erklärt, dass das war meine Fehler, weil ich hatte gedacht, dass wenn Mensch mit Behinderung arbeitet, die Behinderung, wir müssen alle für die Behinderung machen. Ja? Und dann, das ist so andere, weil du bist ein Profi, du bist ein Profi-Tanzer. das ist so gut und dann wir können mehr spezifisch binnen, das Stück hat so mehr hochkommen, weil ich halt, okay, wir beides Profi, ja. Und ich habe auch erklärt, dass in einem Festival in Hamburg Beispiel, wir hatten einen Inclusion-Workshop und eine Performance alles zusammen zu machen und wenn ich gehe in ein anderes Festival, ich mache mein Stück und das ist alle. Aber wir hatten alle diese Idee, dass wenn Mensch eine Behinderung hat, dann du musst über deinen Körper erklären und du musst so viel mehr Arbeit machen. Na, denkst du, das ist richtig?
Ich habe mir absolut meine Behinderung erklärt. Ich bin froh, wie ich bin.
Die letztes Mal, du hast so viel über deine Behinderung erklärt.
Aber das mache ich nicht mehr.
Ja.
Weil ich bin so.
Du bist?
Ich bin so, wie ich bin.
Die letzten Wörter. Du bist ruhig?
Ich bin so, wie ich bin.
Okay. Du möchtest nicht so viel erklären. Nee.
Ich bin einfach mein Körper ist so, wie er ist.
Ja, okay. Deine Körper hast die Communication gemacht? Und du hast Stolz für deinen Körper? Ja, okay, cool. Yeah. So Roland says that like often he has to explain his disability to people, actually he's very proud of his body, and he thinks that his body can speak for itself. So you don't need to know about the disability, you just have to be with him in his presence.
I do have a question for you. So you have for the last few days been a part of the gallery and rehearsing and participating in workshops with the public, and I just wonder how important that is for you both, how important you think that is for the City of Bunbury, knowing in the past you have performed this piece in major cities and coming to a regional part of the world, and how that experience has affected the work and yourselves personally.
Die Prozess für eine kleine Stadt zu kommen und in einer Galerie arbeiten, während die andere war sehr unterschiedlich, ja. I should say this need to like explain disability and do extra things around the work also came from us in Bunbury. That was really initiated by me when producing and proposing. I wanted people to feel comfortable coming into the room. So we definitely enjoy workshops. I think that's the other example from Hamburg was that it wasn't a question. It was set up in a professional festival context with different expectations because of disability. So I think that's a difference to make. Whereas here, I found the work has really become artistic in the sense of visual art. Like we're working so much more with sculpture, and I really like moving image, and I always think about choreography as moving image. But here, I've maybe taken a bit more risks. Like in responding to the site, with the sleeping bags, I make sculptures now, and I sit in them for a while. And that's definitely a response to being in a gallery and being surrounded by still work. I don't feel the need to move as much, which is very liberating. It's been small, I think. Like, we had the studio open for 4 days, and maybe 5 or 10 people will come in and ask some questions. And I think there is this need to need more numbers. I think also for boards, I'm sure Bunbury Gallery's board are like, how many people came? But it's really not about the number, it's about the resonance. And I felt this morning in the workshop, there was a really strong resonance. And to have ABC engaged in the work, Goethe Institute, this big organisation from Berlin that are supporting German art, for these big organisations to get behind it, I think what's happening here is more than what's happening here for this piece and also for the art we're making. And so, yeah, I think that's very important in terms of being in a regional city. Ich habe erklärt, dass was wir macht hier ist mehr, dass du halt in der Workshop ausgesagt, ja, dass das ist nichts, wie viele Leute kommen, aber was ist die lange Zeit, ja? Wenn eine Gruppe kommt und die Kopf ist ein anderer Weg und die Meinung ist unterschiedlich, das ist so groß, ja? So, ihr müsst nur ein Leute, ja? Genau. Und was ist deine Impression von dieser Stadt und für Bunbury, diese Projekt zu kommen?
Of course.
Ja, für Bamboo miteinander arbeiten kann, auch wenn die Körper unterschiedlich sind.
Die Körper unterschiedlich
sind, ja. Und wir arbeiten miteinander.
Yeah.
Genau. So it's been really interesting being in Bunbury also with the workshops and people coming into the room. Like a man came in yesterday who had Down syndrome, and also today we had people of all ages. Like Luke, the gallery assistant, was quite a young man and he was engaged and kind of talking about deep sea diving, and then there were also older women that were struggling to get onto the floor, but also we all helped them lower down. John's here and he was in the workshop, a great presence. So I think that's been really amazing being in a regional city, the variety of people who have come in the room. And this was the point from Roland. And he finds Bunbury good. Du hast gesagt, dass du findest Bunbury good. Yeah.
Wonderful. What should we, what kind of taste can you give us in terms of what we're going to see tonight? So is there a bit of unplanned element to it, or do you have a lot ready to go in terms of choreography that you've really nutted out? Or
Oh, it's very set. Yeah, all my choreography, I'm very specific.
Yes.
Maybe a little bit of a control freak, maybe you could say. In Melbourne, we worked with a physiotherapist. Right. We had 2 sessions, and that was very helpful because Roland's body is unpredictable with the spasms, and so there are moments that need to go slow, and Roland needs to know what parts of my body he can attach to and which is dangerous, perhaps the neck. So for that, there are a lot of lifts in the work that are very structured. And also we have a very basic lighting design. I kind of made a lighting and set design that's very basic but responds to the room, and there's plastics on the floor which shift, and this also adds to the unpredictable elements. So there's the unpredictability of the bodies and listening to the bodies, but then also the floor moves. So it's made to look unpredictable and improvised, but at the same time, if you watch it twice, you realise we're doing exactly the same thing, and we're moving our hand. You can see even Roland, kannst du die offen und geschlossen mit deiner Hand machen? Ich liebe diese Bewegung. I love this movement. But that the hand opens and closes,
Yeah.
which you can see in this, but that's kind of counted. So it happens over 4, over 6, and then over 7. So we really make it very specific.
Wow.
Dankeschön. In terms of, there is a moment of rolling on the floor which can change, and actually it quite hurt my lower back last night. That's a moment, that when the plastic moves and we move, that's quite acrobatic, that we need to work on this afternoon before the performance.
Yep.
It's 40 minutes long, which is great. And we actually used to work with a 3x3 metre pool on stage that was full of water, but now we've taken that out and we're using a bench, and instead we just have a small drink bottle that we pour water over one another, so there is water in the space, and also there's a bowl of water that I put my foot in, and we actually create a rain cloud where we fill the sleeping bag with water, and the rain comes out of the sleeping bag when we hold it above our heads, and it's a blue sleeping bag, so this is a cloud. And I think this is really nice that we're in it together. We're sheltering from the rain together, but we're also like in control and not in control, you know, that it's a natural cycle. Ich hatte erklärt, dass Sophia, I said a lot. Das alle, die Choreograf ist gefixt für unser Stück. Wir haben 45 Minuten und die Boden ist ein bisschen andere und wir haben mit den Physiotherapeuten gearbeitet, wenn ich strukturiere mit den Beinen gemacht und mit dem Schlafsack im Wasser, und dann wir hat das, wenn der Regen kommt. Das ist mein Lieblingsbild. I found it last night and it made me so happy. Like I even dreamed about it last night. I was like, oh, it's all worth it. You know, the applications, the traveling, assistance and all these things. It's really worth it for this cloud image. Und was denkst du, dass die Leute können von dem Stück nehmen? I just asked him what he thinks the audience could take from tonight. Schön. He hopes that people will take away that there are lots of different bodies in the world and what you can learn through difference.
Yes. That's beautiful. I wonder if anybody else in the group has any questions for Renae and Roland while we're here.
I'd ask the same question of Renae. What do you want the audience to get out of it?
For me, it's the interconnectedness of not just Roland's body and my body, but also the floor and the images, and that things can transform and they're always changing, so that the sleeping bag is like a sea slug that we're in, that then becomes a creature that lives, that then becomes a rain cloud. I think that for me, and this isn't just skin, but actually all my work, is that things are constantly changing and we're all interconnected. And so there aren't these fixed boundaries that we see in front of us. And I like that through the imagination and these transformations. I think it also came up in my bio, this like need for artistic transformation and imagination. Because this for me is something which we work so hard to get rid of with our 40-hour work week and our fixed schedules and our need for capitalism and money and growth. So if we can notice change artistically and embrace that, then where else can we change? And be okay with discomfort also. I think there's a lot of discomfort in skin. You see, like, there are times where Roland is heavy and you see us negotiating the lift. And I used to want to hide that and put, work with the physio and find ways to make the movement cleaner. But I really like the struggle, actually, and this okay with being discomfort. Because I think at the moment also environmentally we're in a place where we are in a level of discomfort, whether the children are striking, mum's turning off the lights even though she loves her lights, like all these things, and how we can be okay with that. So it's a big aim for one piece, but it's not just this piece, it's like a body of work, and a career, and hopefully, one person sees it, it's enough. Ich habe erklärt für mich, dass ich möchte, dass die Leute, ist okay, wenn das ist ein anderer, aber können sehen, wenn das ist unterschiedlich. Und das ist nicht nur für unsere Körper, aber auch mit der Welt, wenn das unterschiedlich bin. Und dann, wenn das ist nicht gemütlich, das ist auch okay. Ja, wenn die Ökologik und die Sonne ist mehr heiß und alle diese Dinge ist alle transformieren auf Deutsch, das ist ein Wort. Genau. Und wenn die Schlafsack ist ein Schlafsack und dann ein für den Regen und dann alle diese andere. Ich denke, das ist was wir können sehen. Und das ist nicht nur für dieses Stück, aber für alle meine Arbeit. Yeah. Roland likes that.
Yeah. Okay, well, I might leave it there. Thank you, Renae, and thank you, Roland, as well. So, do you have one question?
Sheree, just maybe to let people know how the show's gone from Berlin to Melbourne and then to Bunbury.
Yes.
I think Renae's from Bunbury, so she can explain how it got to here.
Yes, I'd love to know that too. So you're originally from Bunbury, is that right? Yes. So coming back, how has that been when you've been touring around the globe? You're based in Berlin now, is that right?
Yeah.
So how has that been for you on a personal level?
Yeah, I think it's wonderful. Like a very big thank you to Joanne for trusting the project, and the board for opening up to something new, and the City of Bunbury. Definitely the support of Boathouse Bed and Breakfast. They've supported the accommodation for 5 people for a week, which has been amazing. And Goethe Institute Foundation and Europe Asia Foundation and Action Mensch in Berlin, all supporting us to be here. And also Roland and myself, because actually we offer a lot of time and energy that we just give to the project. So danke, and I'm sure we both self-invested. I think there's those assistants and the flights. Yeah, it's a lot. So that's been something like a group effort, a lot of people in bringing the project home.
Yes.
And then the community for coming back and re-engaging with someone that maybe friends were there today that I hadn't seen in 3 years, family friends that kind of saw performances I did at Bunbury Rotary Company, when I was 10, and then come and do my workshop, and that's really nice.
Yes.
And I think they come because they know the family, but then they also engage in a creative process. And how was it for you, John?
A metamorphosis.
A metamorphosis.
Yes, that's right.
So, the metamorphosis of your story is also, breaking down the stigma of our separation. And that's whoever sees it, no matter 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 100. And regional galleries are renowned for sort of being a little bit microscopic. And so what we've got is a magnifying glass coming in. Sort of expand the view. And it's challenging. I mean, just the fact of, I'm listening and I'm thinking, the vision of the project and then the discipline to actually achieve that, and then at the same time the flow of just accepting the self in being able to just be in that, and that's not going to be the same ever again. So that's really acceptance, you know, like acceptance of the performers in themselves, acceptance of the audience, acceptance of even the resistances of others. So it's like, you know, the barriers are coming down. There is change, and it's pretty big, and most noticeable through the arts, because they're not sort of they're not constricted, and they're also non-verbal. The process begins non-verbal. Whether it be music, whether it be sound, you know, whether it be movement, whether it be visual, it's non-verbal. And so we've got this endless verbal chatter in the media, in the, you know, Instagram or whatever you want to look at, but actually it all happens, our healing happens through our silence. And, you know, that moves us forward. We see a way we can move beyond this restriction of my body or the skin, you know, what's outside, what's inside. So it's always for the audience, I think, maybe can I just open myself up to someone other? That's huge.
Yes.
You know, then there's no terrorism. Then there's no wars. You know, because we're coming from a place in our heart.
Yes.
Yeah.
And acceptance flows
Acceptance,
through.
yeah.
It flows through to peace and understanding. Yeah.
Do you have anything to add to that?
John hat gesagt, dass ich hatte gesagt, dass nee, ich hatte erklärt, was ich habe gesagt.
Ja.
Genau. Und dann John hat gesagt, dass in die Stück akzeptieren alle die anderen Körper, aber auch für die Galerie ein Akzeptieren für ein anderes Projekt oder ein anderer Prozess. Und dann in die Meinung für alle die Leute, da ist eine Blockade, ja, und dann wir Stück für Stück die Blockade wegmachen. Ja? Ja, und dann, da war ein bisschen mehr, dass, I don't know if I can say it as poetically, like bringing down the blockades in the gallery and the bodies. Is that kind of, is there something I've missed there, John? Expanding, mehr große.
It's basically the metamorphosis process in the creative process.
Genau.
You know, a chrysalis.
Yeah.
You know, it is a struggle to you know, the chicken's got to break that shell.
Ja. Genau.
And then it's seen the light.
Die erste Stück ist mehr schwer. Wir hatten auch so viele Probleme in Melbourne, ja?
Yeah.
Oh, nee, das ist okay, Rolly.
Yeah.
We also had like difficulties, you know, in Melbourne, especially like being in another city and different expectations on organisation and but it was really good. We really sat down and we gave it time and we listened, and you know, a lot of it was just misunderstanding and cultural tendencies. Yeah. So it's true, that first step. Ich denke, das ist mir einfach jetzt. Ja, von hier, das ist mir einfach. Aber dann wir hat die nächste Stück und dann das ist schwer. Ja. No. I said, then we get to the next level and there's another blockade. Or the next piece. He's like, let's make another piece. Once we finish this one. Cool. Great.
Okay. Well, thank you, Roland, and thank you, Renae, for coming along and being a part of our Saturday afternoon artist talks. I would like to encourage everybody to join me in some complimentary tea and coffee in the Convent Gallery, and we hope to see you next week if you're around, where Councillor Treslin Smith will be reflecting on the works of our new City of Bunbury art collection.